Hi folks, it's Evo here from Thundermist Lure Company, and welcome to today's episode of Thundermist Fishing Tips. I'm out here with Phil, and what do you think, Phil? We're going to do a little ice fishing today.
Sure, what else are we going to do on this Sunday afternoon?
We're the only ones out here. We parked the car. Actually, it's like Phil said, it's an afternoon, it's late January. We parked the vehicle, we came out, there's no one on the ice at all. It's bitter cold, it's windy, but we're nice and protected in this hut. We drilled our holes a little earlier. We froze out there getting set up, but it's nice and warm here now. Phil's got the heater going, so you know what, even on those real cold days you can come out and do some nice ice fishing and fish very comfortably. These huts actually are really, really nice. And this is a big one. It's an 8-man hut.
It's like the Cadillac of huts.
The Cadillac.
It's really nice.
It's a Cadillac, all right. I like it. You can stand up and stretch. They're really nice. So we're going to do a variety of things today. We're looking for panfish, folks, and really I'd like to get into some bluegill if we can. And I'm going to run a multiple. I've got a 3-hook rig here. I've got some T-turns going to some a couple of Big John panfish flies that he tied up for me before the trip here. And on my bottom hook, I've got a real tiny size 16 hook that typically I would use for smelts. But these sunfish got real small mouths, so I'm going to see if that little hook makes a difference. So I've got a variety of setup here, and all we're using, I had a subscriber write in, hey Phil, and he asked about minnows and bluegills.
Right.
And bluegills will take minnows, no problem. They'll take the minnow,
yeah. They
like minnows. But what is very effective are just tiny pieces of minnows. So what we've done, we got our little cutting board here, we've got little pieces of minnow that we've cut up, and that's what we've rigged up on our lines. And like I say, a large minnow will work, a regular minnow will work, but you won't get as many bites with a full-size minnow, at least not with bluegills. Bluegills like small baits. So basically right down to the bottom, and just going to work these baits on the bottom real slowly and see if we can hook into some fish. So stay tuned, folks. We're hoping to have a great time. A little piece of minnow?
Just a tiny piece of minnow, yes.
Yeah, tiny piece of minnow.
Well, it's a bluegill.
There you go. That's that's not bad.
Yeah.
Eh? Now okay. the thing is, Phil, were you jiggling your line a little bit at all?
Yeah, I move it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't let it rest too long. Movement is the key, I think.
Yeah, you have to keep it. You know, it's so important, folks. Now we just set up, so these fish could be a bit. We made some noise, so it's taken a bit, but we're starting to get into some fish now, and you got to have a little bit of patience, when you're ice fishing. You're getting set up, you're making noise, you're drilling holes, but with the line on the bottom, exactly like Phil said, you get it down there. It's okay to wait and hold it, but you should jiggle it just a little bit. Get that little bit of movement on there, and if there's a fish just kind of looking at your bait, it'll just entice a bite. And I know if you're fishing outside, your hands get frozen.
It's very hard to detect bites outside. Yeah.
and you want to keep your hands in your pocket. And you don't want to move your line, but you have to kind of just jiggle it every so often. Even if it's once a minute, that's fine. But you're right, Phil. That movement, it's the key. It'll entice more bites. My turn, Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just jiggling, just slightly jiggling, and then pausing, and that just enticed the hit there.
Is that even a word, jiggling?
Hey, look at that. He took that real tiny hook. Now, here's a problem with the tiny hook. He really took it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to get a needle nose to get him out. And that's a small fish, but unfortunately I think we're going to have to keep him. He just inhaled that hook. So maybe there's one disadvantage with a tiny hook like that. But you know, maybe we'll try some different things today as well too, folks. If we only have a few minnows and we cut them up like I said, but we may cut up some, we brought some Slimers bait with us. They make some cut baits and whatnot, and we're going to cut up some of that artificial bait, that Slimers bait, and cut it up in tiny little pieces and jiggle that down there and see if that can entice some hits. And maybe we'll even throw on a jigging spoon and try an artificial spoon. See what's working. I just switched to that little jigging spoon, Phil.
Yeah.
Look at there. Hey, that's what you do if you run out of bait. Put on a little jigging spoon just like that, and see if they'll hit that little jigging spoon.
Nice.
This one's a little small. We'll throw it back in.
I'm going to throw some meat on my hook. See what happens.
The problem with this jigging spoon, it's so small and light, it takes forever just to get down there. But if you ever run out of bait, that's a great option. If you ever run out of bait, folks, keep some of those tiny little jigging spoons in your tackle box and just jig them just off the bottom. And if the fish are on the bite, they'll be aggressive and they'll hit them, and it'll save a day on the water if you run out of bait. This jigging spoon bite is hot.
I don't even set up yet.
You know, I just put it back down. It just finished getting down there.
How far down?
And there's another sunfish right there.
Right off the bottom, Eve?
Yeah. Now, you see, some people have been asking what's the difference between a bluegill and a pumpkin seed. Well, you can see here, the bluegill, actually, well, they have that blue on the gill, which is a distinct feature. And they also have these bars that run across them, kind of vertical bars that they have on them, as opposed to a pumpkin seed, which is a lot more colorful. Yeah, it's got a lot of orangey built in it, but the bluegills are definitely bluer in color. But that's an easy way to tell. Vertical lines, the blue on the gill, and not as colorful as the pumpkin seed. But this little jigging spoon looks like it's doing the job today. Okay, I'm back on bottom, Phil. There's another one.
Awesome.
I'm just going to say, the key to working these jigging spoons, folks, is to get them. I just got it on the bottom, and oh, look at that. We got a little perch. Little perch. But the key to working these jigging spoons is once they get on the bottom. In fact, let me get it down on the bottom and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, we've just hit bottom, folks, and like I said, I got this real tiny little 1/16 ounce jigging spoon, and it takes a while to get down there, but if you keep an eye on your line, you can tell when it hits the bottom because your line will just kind of go a little bit limper than normal. So I'm on the bottom. I just took it off the bottom about maybe 2-3 inches. And very simple now. All you do is just lift it up and let it just take its time and flutter down. And because you're using a light spoon, you got to give it a chance to get down there, and then just jig it back up again. Now, if they're really aggressive, that method works really well. If they're not real aggressive, then what you do is let it get down there, and then just kind of jiggle it. More of a jiggle than it is a jig. Jiggle it, and that'll attract them, and then let it settle, and those fish will hit it as your jigging spoon is settling. The fish will hit. So those are two very, very effective ways to entice these panfish. Entice these panfish into biting. I did entice. I did entice him into biting. It just took a little more. It took about an extra, since the camera's been off, about 30 seconds to get him to hit. You got a bite?
Yeah, I got one on.
Double header, folks. Mr. Bluegill.
I believe.
Yeah? I got another small one. You?
No.
No?
Came off.
Came off? This one took a little more enticing. This one feels a little better, Phil.
Better than the last one?
Yeah, I put a little piece of that Slimer's bait on. I wonder if he, on that tiny little hook,
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if he took that or if he took one of Big John's panfish flies. Oh, looky there.
See you in a minute. Oh,
Big
nice
John's
perch.
panfish. Big John's panfish for fly. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Nice perch right there with that little tiny little piece of minnow. So even the perch will take a minnow as well. Let's see if I can get him lip locked. He's a borderline keeper, eh, Phil?
I'd say he's a keeper.
Yeah, we're going to try to catch a little bit for a fish fry today. I'm going to try that Slimer's bait again.
I'm going to put a jigging spoon on the bottom of mine.
Yeah, why
Use it
not?
as a sinker.
Yeah, you could use that's actually a good idea to use a little jigging spoon instead of the sinker, and as you're jiggling it, you could get them to bite on that jigging spoon. And you don't have to put any bait on a jigging spoon. You could just, and I typically don't bait them. You can just use them as is. As long as the fish are aggressive, they'll hit it.
Okay, Evo, here's another one.
Do you think he's on the jigging spoon or what?
I have no idea.
Were you jigging it?
I was, but I was jigging pause. So
Jigging. Yeah.
actually hit once and I missed them. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a nice jump.
Oh, there's a nice perch. Jigging spoon. See that?
Spoon, yeah.
That was a good idea, putting that jigging spoon on the bottom, folks. Look at that.
Using that as my sinker.
Look at the perch it produced. Hey?
Yeah, nice.
That's a nice chunky perch. Look at that, right on that jigging spoon.
I mean, for today it's nice.
So now, did you have that spoon tipped at all or no?
I did. I was cheating a little bit. I had a little piece of minnow on there just to give it some scent,
Okay.
and it seemed to work. So
Look at there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Very nice. So, you know, the other thing I like to do too, that's a nice perch, Phil.
Yeah.
Is when I'm down there, a lot of times, if the fish aren't active, I like to just kind of lift my rod up and just slowly lift it up like so. Oh, just slowly lifting it up. I think I had a hit. And what happens is the fish think that their bait is getting away, and they'll come up and they'll hit it. So every so often I'll just slowly bring up my line, and if anything hits it, great. If not, I'll put it right back down again. But that's a nice fish there, Phil, on that jigging spoon.
That was a nice one, yeah.
Gotta love those jigging spoons.
Catch more than a sinker.
Well, you know, it's getting your line down there,
Yeah.
like a sinker would.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're jigging and working it,
That's right.
so it gives you an extra advantage to catch another fish.
Got something else on here. Well,
Feels good.
not too bad. But I guess it's going to be small.
The small one.
Well, it's a little perch.
Oh, small perch. Jigging spoon again.
Jigging spoon, yeah.
Jigging spoon again. It's attracting them, and they're hitting that jigging spoon.
It's barely on.
That barely on, eh?
Yeah.
He's coming in quick, hey
He
Phil.
is. He's coming up.
He's coming up, swimming right up to the top of the water.
I thought maybe I lost him.
No, another perch. How do you like that? Oh, there's one there. I got one too.
Beauty.
Nice. Now the thing is, folks, we just changed our baits. Very, very important. You got to keep that bait fresh. I would say what, Phil? Oh, another perch. Maybe the perch are moving in.
Yeah.
On the Big John fly again. You got to keep that bait really fresh. And the other thing, folks, what I've noticed, I like to change my bait just in case you're wondering, about every 15 minutes. Keep it fresh that way. No longer than 15 minutes. And I'm also doing something else, because the fish are they're active, but they're not really hitting really hard. And a little trick that I like to use when I'm fishing for smelts, that I'm now using here for panfish, is I get my sinker right down to the bottom, and then once your sinker has hit bottom, I lift it up just a bit and I balance the rod on my finger just like that. So it's kind of like a teeter-totter effect. And what happens is I can still move my bait and jiggle it like so. I can still move it and attract a fish. But the difference is that teeter-totter effect, even the slightest little hit, it'll trigger that rod to go down, and it's really easy to tell when there's a bite. And in the hut here, Phil, there's no wind,
Yeah.
so it's very effective. If we were outside, maybe you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But in here, you definitely can. Just down to the bottom, lift it up, and nice and balanced, and then
Could detect even the slightest of bites, right?
exactly. Look, there's a bite right there.
on.
There's a bite right there. See? Did you see that? The teeter-totter effect. That lure was just going down, or the line was just going down, and bingo, there's a hit. And what do we got here? We got a bluegill.
Nice.
Okay, on that little tiny hook again on the bottom, and looks like this one we're going to have to keep as well, because boy, they seem to be swallowing that hook.
Oh, wow. Again?
That's okay though. You won't go. Nothing will go bad. We'll
Oh,
keep
no.
that fish. But very effective, folks. Using that balance technique,
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And you know what, Phil? I think we're gonna keep going at it here. We're catching some small fish, but we got some decent fish too. We're gonna end up with a nice fish fry today.
I think so.
What a great day on the ice. Couple hours in the afternoon like that. I don't know. Does it get any better than that?
Not much. We could be watching this at home, maybe.
Okay.
Second
maybe,
best.
Maybe so. But you know what, folks? I want to thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Thundermist Fishing Tips. Well, hope you enjoyed today's episode. We're having a great time out here. If you get an opportunity, get out there, do a little bit of ice fishing, and if you've got a hut, it makes it a lot more enjoyable. So thanks again, folks, and until next time, as always, until next time, good luck and good fishing.